Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Why is it the easiest to fool your friends or your loved ones? It is because they trust you. Therefore, their guard is down. So, once you violate that trust, the guard goes up and people's intellectual abilities are at the maximum, which is harder to fool them again. Well, this is where the Russians are with the Americans, let's put it with the so-called civilized West. The Russians feel, and the historical evidence is available for you to verify, they feel and they know that they were fooled by the civilized West on multiple occasions. So the Russians now, after the fall of the so-called Iron Curtain, they lowered their guard. They said, well, now we're going to be like you, civilized. Well, they didn't know, or they couldn't believe that the civilized West is a perverted partner, which says something and does something else, and continuously lies. I'm not here to defend Russia. Russia is strong enough to defend itself. But I'm not going to play full retarded just because I'm afraid to be accused pro this or pro that. I don't care. I'm telling you how I see things. And not only how I see them, the historical evidence is there where the civilized West lied on multiple occasions since 1991 to Russia. And the Russians now don't believe anything, for good reason, coming from the civilized West. Do you remember Zelensky's claim and other imbeciles' claim that Russia does not want peace because they don't want a ceasefire? And the Russians are saying, no, we want a ceasefire, but we have to talk about it. There's many details. And the reason is we're not going to have a ceasefire just today without discussing things first. We're going to be at war and we're going to negotiate in the same time. And remember, the Western so-called media, free media, accused the Russians of being, two-faced or trying to buy time and all that. Well, this is exactly what the Allies are doing right now. They are arming Ukraine with air defense systems while they are negotiating or while they're trying to negotiate. That is because the Russians don't believe these guys at all anymore. Show me the thing, then we're talking. We're not talking without you. Show me that you have the product. We're talking about some glasses. Put the glasses right here so I can see that you really have them. And then we're going to talk. So what happened? The United States of America is going to send some Patriot systems to Ukraine while they're negotiating. Exactly what the Russians are doing. The Russians have no, how do you call that? That's a word. I can't remember now the word. They have no illusions. Now they know who they're dealing with. It is like a friend who realized that you are not his friend and he got his guard up. And now you have to face this guy's guard, whereas before his guard was down, trusting you like a baboon. I'm talking about the Russians. That's the first topic. And the second topic, we have Medvedev saying that Ukraine has one last chance. So this with Trump is Ukraine's last chance for a peaceful resolution of the war. I personally think that they will blow it. Therefore, it's going to be a perpetual war until one of these sides will threaten with nuclear weapons. And I think it's going to be the Russians. All right, so let's start with the first topic, which is US works with allies to ship more Patriot batteries to Ukraine. I thought that the United States of America said if the negotiations don't work and you guys don't make any progress, we pull back from the negotiations, but not from the war to destroy Russia. That's exactly what I said today about the 3 alternative hypotheses regarding the war. United States of America, European Union, and Russia. Ukraine doesn't matter. I explained it in a video today. Why the pistol is used by the handler. However, the handler sees fit, which could be the United States, could be the European Union, or could be in this case, not even the Russians, because the Russians are trying to take away the pistol from these guys. So there's 3 scenarios I made in this video. I claimed, 1, all these 3 are together in this, and we are the baboons. The second one, US and is independent, own interest, Ukraine. European Union plus, when I say European Union, that means Europe, together with Great Britain, is another entity, and then the other ones, the Russians, are 3 different entities, okay? So, and then the other one is these 2 spoken versus the third one. So this alone, this alone, this alone, all 3 together, or these 2 together versus Russia. These are the 3 main alternative hypotheses for what's going on in Ukraine. And little by little, I said in the next week, we will probably have a clearer view on which of these 3 hypotheses is true. They're all in it, and we are the baboons, like in a matrix, and they all suck our energy, not our, you know what I mean? Or these guys are together, play good cop, bad cop with the Russians, or these are really 3 individual, the European Union, individual interest, separate interest, European Union, Great Britain, United States of America, and Russia. So let's look at the first article. US working with allies to ship more Patriot batteries to Ukraine. Oh, I thought they stopped the shipping. No, they're not. They're not. So that's the first giveaway. These guys are going to continue doing what they were doing. The talk show is just a talk show. Shipments of US military aid to Ukraine continue. But they tell the Russians for a ceasefire? All right. Washington is also working with its NATO allies. There's no NATO allies. Just to make things clear. NATO is not a organization of multiple states. It's the organization of one state, United States of America, with baboons, like a plantation. And it's going to use the baboons' resources, military, their economies, their people, to fight the global interests, who harness United States of America and a few Western European countries. Not all of them. You don't need to. You don't need to have all the guys under the same control. You need just a few that will tell the baboons, other weaker baboons, what to do. It's like echelons. The big boss, which is the master, house slave, plantation slave, and no slave, dead slave. All right. At the same time, he suggested that the United States does not have any Patriot to spare. How in the fuck United States does not have any Patriots to spare? Wasn't the US Pentagon, right? Sorry, I get dehydrated while drinking alcohol. All right. How in the hell you don't have any when you had a budget of about $900 billion a year? Where is the money going? That's a question for all the baboons in America. All of them. Idiots, Republicans, or either Democrats or independents. Where is the money? Where is the money? Okay. The Ukrainians asked for air defense system, Patriot systems, which frankly we don't have. How? My God! Rubio said during a Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearing. But we are working with our NATO allies. Some NATO allies have Patriot batteries that could provide or transfer to Ukraine to protect the airspace of Kiev or elsewhere. We're working with our partners to arrange delivery of some of these systems. As you can imagine, none of these countries want to give up their Patriots. Advice for these guys. The Patriot systems suck. You know how I know that? Ask the Israelis. And Israelis must be trusted. Okay? Because they're the chosen ones. Alright, so this is the first one. It's so much to unpack here, my friends. So, we can't have anything to spare, but I have you spare some. So your security, 0. My security, we're ready. I tell you, the Patriot systems are, I think, overrated. Why? Buy one, sell one free. Buy one free. That's just a business. All right, next one. U.S. working with allies on deliveries of new Patriot systems to Ukraine, U.S. Secretary said. All right, give them, my friends, give them. But why do you give them? Don't they have enough? Oh no, because none of them was hit by the Russians. All right, and that gets me to the second part of this video with Mr. Medvedev Dmitry. Ukraine has one last chance, Medvedev said. Moscow is prepared for, and please listen, unconditional negotiations with Kiev based on realities on the ground. The former president has said, what are the realities on the ground? We are winning, we got Donbass almost entirely, and we got the Crimean Peninsula, and we are moving westward. These are the realities. Authorities in Kiev have one last opportunity to preserve some kind of statehood after the Ukraine conflict inevitably resolves. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev has said, urging Kiev to ensure in peace and engage in peace talks. I engage in peace talks that will last 3,000 years. No, Medvedev, I know that's the first step. You should not say that, because I can show up in negotiations and have a lot of coronas, okay? Say it again, Medvedev, I didn't catch the first time. What did you say? Keep saying. I'm listening intensely. Okay, yeah. Well, I have a few questions, excuse me. Well, what was that again? They can do this for thousands of years. Anyway, let's move on. Speaking at the International Legal Forum in St. Petersburg on Tuesday, Medvedev, who serves as deputy chairman of the Russian Security Council, admitted that Moscow doesn't like the current political regime in Kiev at all. And I'm quoting, nevertheless, he suggested that Ukraine's leaders have, and I'm quoting, one last chance to preserve under certain conditions, after the end of military actions, some kind of statehood, or, if you like, some kind of international legal personality, and gain a chance for peaceful development. You got it? The Russians will not fall for the 55th time for the same garbage. Oh yeah, let's sign some documents here. Like, remember Minsk Agreements 1, Minsk Agreements 2? These are the Western partners, the civilized West. And the Russians are like, yeah, da, I remember, yeah, let's do that again. No. This is one thing that these guys don't get it. They're too arrogant. They think that the Russians are like the Russians portrayed in the Hollywood movies. Remember the movie Hit with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Remember? An idiot, by the way. Remember when he was talking about Schwarzenegger? When he was talking about the COVID orders and whatever. Screw your liberties. Remember? Screw your liberties, California. Remember? When is it there? Oh, okay, so since I heard that, I was like, you're totally idiot. You're a tyrant, my friend. Right, the mandates and other things. So remember the movie Hit, where Arnold Schwarzenegger plays that KGB agent, go and find Victor. Where's Victor? Do you see Victor? Victor. Okay, they were looking for Victor in New York City. And you find Victor with that, this is the strongest, blah, blah, blah. All right, that movie. They portray Russians kind of weird, funny, but very, you know what I mean? That's a Hollywood movie. You know, it's a Hollywood movie. And these guys think that's the way the Russians are. When you find the Russians, what was the Swedish actor? I love him very much. A Swedish actor who always plays Russian. I'm a Russian! Remember, he played in that movie. I'm very familiar with movies, even though I don't watch movies, my friends. That movie, they were going to destroy an asteroid coming towards the Earth, and they have to send a mission, destroy it over there, and they meet a Russian astronaut. This is I want to show you how the Russian cosmonaut is doing. Bam, 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 bam. That's how they see the Russians. Weird, funny, and kind of like below 86 IQ. This is the way they portray the Russians. I wonder who's in charge of Hollywood? The ones that were kicked by Putin out of Russia. The same guys. All right. So, by the way, the Hollywood studios in 1930s were formed by about 5 people coming from a radius of about 500 kilometers from the same area from Eastern and Central Europe. Galicia, Ukraine, Poland, that area. Goldwyn Myers and Brothers and Warner Brothers, all these guys. Look at their history. Who made your culture in the 30s roaring toward 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s? The same guys who make right now the Hollywood for you. Anyway, let's go back here. So anyway, these guys think that the Russians are baboons. Why? They really think that's the case, but it's not. It's not. Just because they might have various cultural traits that you might find funny, it doesn't mean that they're baboons. Anyway, so Medvedev says this: guys, enough with garbage. Realities are this: we are going to fulfill our 4 non-negotiable. You know, the Russians unprovoked, attacked, unjustifiable Ukraine, but they still have some 4 justifications somehow. Is the fact that these guys don't like the Russians' justification. That's the problem. And the Russian says, you know what? You got us out of our warm bed with our ladies of the night. We're going to come outside and we're going to smack you around in the rain and we're going to finish the job. And these guys, I dare you. And now they are a bloody nose in Ukraine. And these guys are still thinking that they're running a show. They're not. The Russians are upset and they don't trust anybody anymore. You have to show me the glasses, and then we talk about the glasses. And then you show me the money, and you show up. It's not like, in the future, because you are, I don't know, Arnold Schwarzenegger KGB, or Victor. This is the portraying, or the other guy with this is the blah, blah, blah. My friends, Ukraine will be a known country. It's not going to be under international anything. It's going to be under Russian control, with a so-called international recognition. There will be a country called Ukraine, with Ukrainian people, but it will be run by Moscow. The other guys will stay outside of it because the Russians will have the guns ready. This is what's going to happen. And when the guys decide in Europe to play idiots, the Russians will threaten them with nuclear weapons. And that's the end of the story. But I don't understand why the Russians waited at least 3 years and a half, before they will say eventually, you know what? Fuck, man. Stop playing around. We have these nukes. You got this deadline. Stop the fucking shit. We got everybody right now. We got what? 32 minutes. 32 minutes, stop it. You don't want? Fuck it, man. What are you gonna do? You wanna die? You don't say, no, I have my kid in Harvard. No, they will not. They will blink like there's no tomorrow. They will be like this all the time. But they're gonna reach that point, I don't know, in 5 years, 7 years, and that's only if Russia loses. If Russia loses the conventional war, they will get to the nuclear threat. 100%. How in the hell But these guys are thinking that the Russians will not use that. Again, because of the Hollywood movies. Anyway, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. Where are you? I can't find a mouse, Jesus Christ.